Hello everybody, today we're doing a sheetrock repair on a patio ceiling. This is exterior sheetrock. They have it on the outside patio. Looks like they had water damage on the roof or the floor above, so they called us in to get this area all cut out, re-sheetrock, tape, coated, and textured. So first things first, like all jobs, put down some plastic, tarp. This you're going to have to square it up. Obviously, it'd be easier just to cut out a whole 4x8 sheet of drywall, but we didn't want to get into the fan. Of course, in the ideal world, you want to remove this fan, but I'm working on someone's house, so I don't remove fans, I don't touch plumbing, I just do the drywall repair. So if this was your project, if you were going to change out the fan, change out the light, this would be a good time to drop the light before you do any repairs. But we're just going to work around it. So we're just going to cut a 3-foot by 8-foot section. Keep it under 4 foot. If it was a 4-foot section, it'd be easier to cut out because it'd break right on the joint seam at the 4-foot seam. So it'd be easier to demo. But we're just going to cut out a ripper at a 3-foot by 8-foot. And then the damage extends past the 8-foot. So we're just going to cut out like a 2x2 area over here. And the rest is just the tape seams that can be retaped, remudded, or retextured. But first things first, like all these jobs, just put down some plastic, tarps, whatever you got to do to contain the demo. This we're going to just square it up. Use a T-square, a level, whatever it takes. You want to get the area squared up, cut out nice. Most sheets are sold 4x8, so you want to try to cut out the sheetrock area below the 1 sheet point. That way you don't have to use 2 sheets. Like I said on here, we're just going to do a 3-foot by 8-foot section. Working around this fan. It's really fighting with this fan, but I don't want to drop it. Sometimes it's easier just to pull it down, but I don't want to have to pull it down and then reinstall it. So that's why I work around fixtures whenever possible. We're going to get this all squared up, sheetrocked. I'm going to turn around and do fiberglass mesh tape. Some guys like to pre-fill the gaps. If there's gaps bigger than your pinky, if you can put my pinky in the gap, it's going to need to be pre-filled. If it's nice and tight finish, hang job, then you can just go ahead and use a fiberglass mesh tape. A lot of guys like to use other types of tapes out there, infused tape, this or that. I just use a fiberglass mesh tape. So you use what you want. Paper tapes, though, I wouldn't use a paper tape. Some guys like to use paper tapes for everything. Paper tapes are more for production, drywall, when they use a bazooka and stuff like that. Paper tapes, you have to put the mud on, trowel it down, let it dry before you coat it. So with all these repairs, we use a fiberglass mesh tape. It's a stronger tape, and it holds and it prevents any future cracking. So get it all taped with fiberglass tape. Turn around, I'm going to do a first coat using a quick set mud. It's like a 20-minute mud, just mixing pan by pan, or you can mix a half a bucket. You just don't want to, when you work with hot muds, mix more than you're going to use because you don't want it to set up on you. And 20 minutes kind of fast for a big project like this. So even some guys would like to use 40-minute or even 90-minute, or just mix pan by pan of 5-minute, but you'd have to mix like 5-6 pans for this. So we're just going to mix about a half a bucket of 20-minute, get it all coated nice and heavy. Going to turn around, slick it out, and then follow through with a second coat. And then this texture here is just a smooth type texture. So it's just really 2 coats slicked out, or you can do 3 coats. The process is the same. Of course, where you live, you may have a different texture. There's spray textures, knockdown splatters, orange peels. There's skip trowels, smooth Santa Fe's, smooth walls, level 5 smooth walls, brush textures. There's so many different textures out there. More than likely, you may have a smooth texture where you're located. In my area, there's textures. Every house I go to is a different texture. So it's more of an art for us to go in and match the textures here. Luckily, on this one, it's a smooth texture. So a smooth texture, you would just do a tight finish coat with an all-purpose joint compound. And most textures I thin down using clean water, and I make the consistency like a heavy pancake batter. You don't want it soupy wet. You don't want the mud to fall off your knives and tools. You want to be able to put the mud on and trowel it down. So get it all coated all textured out. You're gonna let that texture dry overnight. Some textures require sanding. Sanding you do with 150 to 220 grit sandpaper, lightly sand it, and then primer. Always primer your drywall, especially stuff like this on a patio. You want to use like a Kills 2 latex. It's sold in a blue and white can. That's the go-to product for drywall sealing, primers, stain blockers. It's a perfect go-to. So anytime you do drywall repairs, touch-ups, patches, whole ceilings, whatever, always primer before you paint. I know they sell these paints with primer mixed in. Everybody has their discussion about those, but just use a primer before you paint so you don't have no problems, no issues, and the paint finish comes out perfect. So always primer before paint. That's a number one tip I can tell everybody. If you don't use a primer, I don't know if you ever walked into someone's house or you've seen these splotches in the walls. The paint matches, but you can kind of see where there's a repair here, repair there, nail hole there, nail hole there. That's called flashing. So drywall repairs, even a small nail hole needs that primer on it. If not, you're going to get the flashing look, especially in different lights, shadows, evening, morning light. You'll see these flash points. So we always use a primer so you get rid of the flashing. What flashing is just you're painting, but the patch or the mud is trying to absorb all the paint. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4 coats. It's still soaking into that patch, the drywall mud. So that's why you use a drywall sealer or primer, because it seals the porous of the drywall mud. So when you go to paint, the paint just goes over it. It doesn't try to soak into the patch or the hole or the mud work. So that's why you use a primer. But yeah, a simple patio job like this. I have several videos on the channel doing repairs like this on patios, stress cracks, patches, water damage, stuff like that. So just watch a few videos. You'll see the process here. This is a larger project, of course, doing a ceiling, overhead ceiling. So a lot of cut up, cut out, hanging, a little bit involved here. With just doing one sheet is a lot of work involved with this. It takes us about 2-3 hours to do something like this. So if you're going to do this on your own, don't use a hot mud. Just use an all-purpose joint compound to coat it. All-purpose joint compounds you have to let dry overnight. Turn around, sand it. Second coat, sand it. Third coat, sand it. The quick set muds, what I use, a more professional grade material. We use these because we have to finish the jobs in one trip. So I don't recommend everybody using hot muds unless you worked with drywall muds before and you know how to mix muds and clean up muds. That's hot muds like 5 minute, 20 minute, 40 minute, 90 minute. Those are more professional grade coating materials. So if you're a newbie at drywall, mudding, that's your first time doing drywall, you're skeptical on your mudding skills, just stick to an all-purpose joint compound. With an all-purpose joint compound, if you make a mistake, you can at least sand away your mistake the next day. It has to just dry overnight. You put the mud on too heavy, you can sand it down until you get your heaviness, your overcoat off there, and then follow through with a tight skim coat. So the joint compounds are more forgiving. But yeah, I hope you liked the video. I'll be posting videos here and there. It is summertime where I live. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's really hot out here. Most of my jobs are inside, but some are outside. So I'm working in 110. I think this month in June, we already had 114-degree weather, so it's pretty hot out here. So some of these jobs, I don't really bring the camera. I just go to work, try to get my job done and get home, get out of the heat. So I don't make too many videos during the summer. But I do have other videos, past videos, so you can watch plenty of those and watch and learn. That's all these videos are, watch and learn. It's not really step by step. You just got to watch the process and see how it's done. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe. Please like, please comment. That does help YouTube find my channel. It puts it with the class of drywall repairs and drywallers with these other big channels out there. There's so many channels out there, so I'm glad you viewed mine. Everybody has their own way of doing things. This is how I do mine. I'm just a drywall repairman, patchman. I'm not a production worker running taping tools, stuff like that, doing whole houses. I just do patchwork, stuff like that. So that's what this video is all about and my channel is about. It's just drywall repairs, almost like do-it-yourself type repairs that you can probably do yourself. If you think you can handle it, this is the process I do. And of course, everybody has their own techniques. Everybody comments on do this or do that. That's fine and dandy. Everybody can comment from their computer, but I'm out here in the field actually working. So leave a comment, like, subscribe, and thank you.